So we are studying this book, The 17 Indispensable Laws of Teamwork. Are y'all loving this book so far?
Very good.
Every week
It's
we're
good.
learning something new.
Hmm.
You're liking it, Pam?
It's good. I
Yeah.
like it. Yeah.
So we're on chapter 3, The Law of the Niche. And it says all players have a place where they add the most value. And really, that's the main point. Like, if you don't get anything else out of this chapter, it's really the concept that every person has strengths. It reminds me of the chapter last time where John was sitting there in a meeting before he went to go speak at that conference, and he realized which speaker was going to add the most value. Their talk was going to be the center meat of the conference, and he was like, you can have my spot because you need to go at this time slot because that's going to set the rest of the conference. And we talked about, we love John's humility, his wisdom, his willingness to do that. But the law of the niche is similar, where everybody has their own strengths. And if they're not in the right part, doing the right job on the team, then they're going to be miserable. It's not going to benefit the team the most. The team momentum can stop, even not just slow down, but even stop. So, this is a really important concept. How many of y'all enjoyed the story of Colin Powell in here? Does anybody want to kind of sum that up for us and talk about it a little bit, what he shared?
Well, he's just determined and he knew what he was meant to do all along. It was just finding his, them saying, we want, inviting him to do this or that. And he knew he was meant to do that always.
Yes. Yes, it says, in this cause, I know of no better person to be the face and voice of American diplomacy than Colin Powell, citing his directness of speech, his towering integrity, his deep respect for our democracy, and his soldier's sense of duty. Bush recognizes, and I guess he wrote this book at the time when this was actually happening. Bush recognized that all players have a place where they add the most value. Powell is running the State Department. That's the law of the niche. So, oh, goodness. Sorry.
I just wanted to say real quick that uh, I realized that he found his niche though by all the things that he had to do first. Like that was part of, like, you know if he didn't, because what stuck out to me, because this is my problem, like, he kept wanting to lead soldiers in the field, but he became frustrated because he kept being pulled back for other things to do, and then his mentor said, um, you're not going to have a conventional army career. Some officers just aren't destined for it. And so that really stuck out to me. It's like, I'm not going to have a conventional mommy career. Some mommies just aren't destined for it. So,
Mm.
like, that was my thing that stuck out to me about
Mm.
how you find your niche is just going through all of the stuff.
Yes, I love that. So you could see that you're not going to be in a conventional way doing what you do, and that's okay because if you tried to fit yourself into a round hole when you're a square, the analogy of the square peg in a round hole, you would not ever get anywhere.
Exactly.
So, oh, well, thank you for sharing that. Um, moving on from there, I messed up an appointment. I'm having to apologize. Oh, me. Sometimes time zones are not good. Um, all right. So there was a place for him, though. He wasn't because of his talents. And sometimes really talented people, that I think oftentimes really talented people find themselves in this position where they don't fit the same way that everybody else does. And that can be a sign of like God's destined them for something great, and as we find ourselves in that position where it's like I'm different from the other women around me, I'm not, when we see how we're different, sometimes that makes us feel bad when actually it's God made us that way so we are completely equipped and just right for his purpose on our life. And so that's a comforting thing to think about in the law of the niche, right?
Yes.
So, the part on page 30, it says no ordinary journey. Does anybody have some things underlined in this section that you want to share that stood out to you from no ordinary journey? No, nobody underlined anything in this section.
It's just what Jessica, she sort of already talked about this, about that he wasn't going to have a traditional army career. It was going to be different.
Mm.
That's what I had underlined in my book right there.
Okay,
That he
okay.
wasn't. This is the same. This is and so I um you know he moved on to you know with the help of different appointments, he moved on to even being more successful than if he did lead a battalion of soldiers. He helped so many more people and countries in his position that he got in.
Mm-hmm. He got, yeah, he had a chance because of his different career. It says there in that middle paragraph, his work with soldiers also taught him to communicate and connect with people, and that led him to be, that prime candidate of American diplomacy, the voice of American diplomacy, because he had learned how to connect with so many different kinds of people. And like you said, Mala, the different countries. He met with leaders of Japan, the Soviet Union, China, Poland, Bulgaria, and West Germany. So, wow. I mean, not everybody's going to have the opportunity, even being in the military, even being higher like an officer. They couldn't all say that, but he could, and that helped him to be more qualified as a diplomat.
I think it goes to show that really none of us know our potential, because as a young boy he felt like in some of the groups that he was in, that he didn't fit in until he got to those what was it called, the Persian rifles. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the Persian rifles, and he did until he got to that group that he fit in with someone, and then his potential just kept going as he kept growing, and I think that's you know uh, you know that's
And
a lot
and he
for a lot.
discovered real teamwork, it says, for the first time when he was part of the Pershing Rifles. So it was worth waiting on, right? Oh, sometimes, when we're not fitting in, it's like, God, why am I not fitting in? Why is this so hard? Why have I had to wait so long for, where I feel like, oh, this is what God was leading me to do. We learn things from being in what doesn't fit. And then once we get to what does, it's like, I think even sweeter. So he discovered real teamwork for the first time once he got to like you said, Pershing rifles at the City College of New York. Um, Anything else that y'all want to talk about from No Ordinary Journey that you noticed? Moving on to command performance on page 31. How does someone like Colin Powell top off a successful term as the nation's first African American national security advisor? By achieving the military's highest rank of 4 stars, and then by becoming the youngest chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff in the history of the nation. He was also that position's first African American and first ROTC graduate. And once again, Powell shown in his position. If you skip down just a little bit, it says, it was so clear to all of us that he could do any job in the room, up to and including president. So when President-elect Bush approached him about becoming a cabinet member, there was only one logical place for him to serve, the place where he would add the most. And so there he was. And if you look on page 32, I didn't know I would be coming back into government when I left the Army 7 years ago and went into private life. But when Governor Bush asked me to consider it, I was ready for it. He had some anxiety. He was anxious to see if he could serve again. But he says, I think I have something to contribute still. And when he specifically said, I would like you to go to the State Department, it was almost as if I had been preparing for this in one way or another for many, many years. My work in the Pentagon, my work as a Deputy National Security Advisor, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and 7 years in private life, watching the world change, suggested to me this is something I should do. So, and really, the next 2 paragraphs in this section, I've got those underlined and starred because they really apply to us here. It says President Bush, his cabinet, and everyone in the country have a lot to gain from Powell. Not only is he the best person for the job, but he has given. Okay, so what did he give? He gave his team greater credibility. That was super important with a constituency inclined not to trust. Okay, so they really needed, this team needed someone who would establish greater credibility. And Colin Powell was key to that. It says, when the right team member is in the right place, everyone benefits. And then that last little paragraph in that section, good things happen to a team when a player takes the place where he adds the most value. Great things happen when all the players on the team take the role that maximizes their strengths, their talent, skill, and experience. That's the power of the law of the niche. So, as we think about that with Ignite Team and we look at all the different roles that need to be filled as we continue to grow, it boils down to your individual role matters. When you get up in the morning and you're alone, if you're not joining, IPA Power Hour, um, it's easy to think, well, does it matter if I do this, or I could just skip it today? Does it matter if I get it done tonight, if I didn't get to it in the morning? And the answer is yes, it does matter, because as you do those individual things, just like Colin Powell, being a part of all of these different organizations from a young age, a teenager, all the way up to when he ends up becoming part of the cabinet, all of those steps prepared him for where he ended up being in his most influential place. And I equate that to Diamond. When you look at going Diamond, all of the steps from getting up in the morning and sending a message to one person and deciding I'm gonna do my birthdays. This isn't even a plexus message. I'm just making a difference and adding value to someone's day. I'm wishing them a happy birthday. I'm being a servant, because maybe not very many people are going to wish that person a happy birthday, but you did. And when you do that, you contribute back to the Ignite team the character of service. You as an individual are pouring that characteristic and you're building that foundation individually and in our team of service. And one day when you stand on stage as a new emerald, sapphire, diamond, your mind will go back to when you just sent a simple birthday message and you have authenticity in the character of being a servant hearted leader. Does that make sense?
Does. Mm-hmm.
So we can see that type of character in Powell. I mean, I would love to read a whole book on him and hear more stories of how he served our country through individual meetings, individual conversations, through things he accomplished even in that club he was in. The what is it called? Pershing Rifles. You know, and being a part of the ROTC, a lot of our Alabama schools have ROTC. I'm sure in Illinois and Texas, Kentucky, they have it as well. And, you know, that builds character in kids and teenagers that as they become a part of a company, or their own business, those character traits are used to help them win for their teams. And the same is true for you as you show up to this meeting today and you're reading your book. As you come to the 10-10-10 call, as you go to the Monday night call or the Thursday night call, you're doing the individual things that are creating the overall big win of our team ranking up to Ruby and your team ranking up to Ruby. And so it's all these little stepping stones that affect the team. Any comments on that? When people are in the wrong place, okay, so just about everyone has experienced being on some kind of team where people had to take on roles that didn't suit them. And here's some examples. An accountant forced to work with people all day. Basketball forward forced to play center. A guitarist filling in on the keyboard. A teacher stuck doing paperwork. A spouse who hates the kitchen taking on the role of cook. So, what happens to a team when one or more of its members can constantly play out of position? First, morale erodes because the team isn't playing up to its capability. Then, people become resentful. The people working in an area of weakness resent that their best is untapped. And other people on the team who know that they could better fill a mismatched position on the team resent that their skills are being overlooked. Before long, people become unwilling to work as a team. Then everyone's confidence begins to erode, and the situation just keeps getting worse. The team stops progressing, and the competition takes advantage of the team's obvious weaknesses. As a result, the team never realizes its potential. When people aren't where they do things well, things don't turn out well. That's the law of the niche. Having the right people in the right places is essential to team building. A team's dynamic changes according to the placement of people. And so then you have this chart. I put it in the rally chat in case you don't have a copy of the book. You can see it. It says the wrong person in the wrong place equals regression. The wrong person in the right place equals frustration. The right person in the wrong place equals confusion. The right person in the right place equals progression. The right people in the right places with a S equals multiplication. So, as we look at this concept on our team, you know, I think of our 10-10-10 call. If you're good at products and you love the products and you love studying them and looking at ingredients and benefits, and you're not raising your hand to say, "Hey, I'll do that section of the call. Let me fill that spot. I'd like to learn more myself. I want to research triplex. Will you let me share what I find out on the 10-10-10?" You know, it's important for me as a leader that as you see something you want to do, that you ask, that you volunteer, that I want to create an atmosphere where you feel safe to say, Darlene, I really want to do more of this. Would you consider it? Um, and that if you say that, then as a leader, I need to listen. I need to be someone who's willing to allow you to do that. Um, Now, what if it's the wrong person in the right place, or mismatch? Then, as a leader, I need to be willing to speak up for the team and say, "Hey, I think you would be suited even better to do this job over here. What do you think about that?" So that's part of the role, also. Y'all comment on that. I'm going to give them my card. Y'all are mighty quiet. Y'all didn't have anything to say on that? The right
You was
person,
too.
wrong place.
Yeah, yeah. You was the right person, but was in the wrong place.
Okay.
Oh, okay. She went away again.
Uh-oh.
So let's look right from where she stopped out at on page 33. Do y'all have a book or no?
No, I'm audible.
You're audible. Okay. So I'll just read it on page 33 till she gets back. It says, it doesn't matter what kind of team you're dealing with, the principles are the same. Dave, David Ogilvy was right when he said, a well run restaurant is like a winning basketball team. It takes the most of every crew member's talents and takes advantage of every split second opportunity to speed up service. I was reminded of the law of the niche by something I did a few years ago. I had been asked to write a chapter for a book called Destiny and Deliverance, which was tied to the DreamWorks movie The Prince of Egypt. Now I remember reading about this, and it goes on to say that he got he was invited to the premiere of this movie, and he and his wife Margaret went. They flew out, and he wasn't really not really fond of movies, but since he had a part in it, they went ahead and went to the premiere. And he said they got dressed up and went, and everybody in the industry was there. And they said anybody that knew something about him knew that, like at the end of the basketball game or whatever event he went to, if he knew the outcome, then he was ready to leave. He was a my husband was one of those types. When it got close to the end, he was ready to get up and to get out of the arena or the place that they attended to beat the crowd. You always want to beat the crowd so you won't be stuck. But he said that when he started to get up, he noticed at the end of the movie that nobody moved and that the credits started rolling. And then when all the insignificant people's names come up, the whole group that was there, that was involved and knew about it, for that person. And so it just really reminded him that, everyone has a part, just not the leaders. Even the most insignificant person that is on a team has a part and needs to be actually their part needs to be celebrated and recognized. And it says down there at the very bottom, it says, "It was a moment I'll never forget, and the distinct reminder of the law of the niche, that all players have a place where they add the most value. When each person does the job that's best for him, everybody wins." And so that I thought that was a pretty good example about even the little people, you know, have a place on the team and on our team. So I thought that was pretty good.
Like that.
Where's she at? She
He left us.
left us. Okay. Put people in their places. Put people in their place. And this talks about Coach Vince Lombardi and when he achieved the achievements of an organization are the results of the combined effort of each individual. And he goes on to say that the art of leading a team, you've got to put people in their places. And I mean that in the most positive way. To be able to put people in their places that utilizes their talents, the maximum and team potential, you need three things. And it says you must know the team, you must know the situation, and you must know the player. So, Darlene, we are on page 35 when uh, we're
So the
saying
three
that
things,
the
the
three
three
things. So, yeah, so you can
things are taken
take back
over.
over.
It says you must know the team. You cannot build a winning team or organization if you don't know its vision, purpose, culture, or history. Number two, you must know the situation. Even though the vision or purpose of an organization may be fairly constant, its situation changes constantly. Good team builders know where the team is and what the situation requires. And he has a real good example there. When the team is young and just getting started, the greatest priority is often to gather good people. But as a team matures, the level of talent increases, fine tuning becomes more important. At that time, a leader must spend more time matching the person to the position. So that would really apply to how we're running our teams as our teams keep growing within Ignite. You must know the player. It sounds obvious. You must know the person you are trying to position in the right niche. I mention it because leaders tend to want to make everyone else conform to their image, to approach their work using the same skills and problem solving methods. But team building is not working on an assembly line. And I think this really applies in all three areas of our business, whether that's prospecting or onboarding, duplication, and then rinse and repeat. We just really have those three things that we're doing. We're prospecting, onboarding, duplicating, and do it over. Teach them to do the same thing. Well, I try to be really vulnerable with y'all and share what I'm doing as I do it, so that if it resonates with you, you can implement that for yourself. What I've found over the years is if I give my team too many choices, it creates confusion. It's better to just stick with the one thing and teach that over and over and over and over, because it helps our ego feel safe. If ego is hurted over and over and over, it's not going to put up a red flag and try to stop you from doing it as much. But in saying that, what I'm doing may not be an exact fit for your personality, temperament, skill level, emotional strength, discipline. You may find um, it's like Jessica on here. She, if she puts her 5 names up on a post-it note on the wall, she, she gets stuff done. For me, I had my whiteboards. I had to shift. That was part of my shift in my move. Now I have my notebook and I'm flagging pages so that I can easily find them and get my stuff done. And this method of putting my names on the planner, this is my list this week. I've done my 5 ask a day. And this is really working for me. I can carry my notebook around and this around. Some people use Excel, and if they get it going in Excel, they are able to keep their work going. So, you have to find what works for you. You can try what's working for me, but also as a leader, I have to be willing to let you do it differently. Thank you so much. And so, if I'm willing to let you do it differently and not be micromanaging and helicopter leading you, then our team is going to move forward. And you may end up doing, tweaking it and doing it a different way. It's not going to be that different, right? We all have to send messages. We all need to onboard people well and serve our customers well. And we all need to learn how to duplicate. Those are the 3 things. But because of our personalities, we may have some nuances. I mean, we will have some nuances in there. That's why I love getting on collaboration calls, because I might figure out, and I have, everything I've learned from somebody else. And sometimes something works for a while and then it has to change. That's part of marketing. The market changes, and as network marketers, we have to be willing to shift and keep learning so that as the market changes, we change with it and continue to be effective. Thoughts or comments on that? All right. So start by finding the right place for you. Right now, you may not be in a position to place others on your team. In fact, you may be thinking, how do I find my niche? If that's the case, then follow these guidelines. Be secure. My friend Wayne Schmidt says no amount of personal competency compensates for personal insecurity. If you allow your insecurities to get the better of you, you'll be inflexible and reluctant to change and to grow. You must be willing to change. And this team, I think that's a strength that we have, because we get on IPA Power Hour, we get on 10-10-10, and we do a book club, and we're fixing to have our retreat. And lots of you go to trainings on your own, like Six Figure Summit or Align, or you hop on a virtual training. I encourage you to find people to follow that really speak to you. A good guide is if you do their training and then you get into action and you sponsor new people, that's someone to keep following. If you do a training with them and you are froze up and you can't get anything done for months or weeks, don't follow that person. That person's not they're not matching you. It's a mismatch. And don't feel bad about that, because some people follow that same person and rank up for following them. And it's just because different techniques and personalities align with different people. So start by finding the right place for you. Be secure. Get to know yourself. You won't be able to find your niche if you don't know your strengths and weaknesses. We've talked about this before, right? Sometimes I'll say, well, I'm good at this, and it's not to brag. You need to recognize where you do have strengths, what you are strong at. Did you forget something? Oh, okay. Okay. When you do figure out that you have a strength, you want to use that strength over and over again. And if you don't take time to see that, I think the security comes first, right? Because if you're not secure, you're not going to look at, well, what am I good at? And we can all grow. We can grow in an area. But I think, the Holy Spirit helps us to feel when, oh, this is an area that came a little more natural for me. Okay, so Mala, would you cover the last three? Trust your leader, trust, see the big picture, and rely on experience. Oh, wait, you're muted.
Sorry. It says to trust your leader. A good leader will help you start moving in the right direction. If you don't trust your leader, look to another mentor for help or get on another team. And that's just what Darlene has just got through talking about. Um, if you're not clicking with someone, there's someone else out there that will be just a perfect fit for you. And I think we got a good team here. And even though Darlene's not on here, but I'm going to give her kudos because I think she has the ability to make each one of us feel loved and special and needed on our team. And although we're all different, but she makes each one of us feel like we're the special one. I know she does. I know she makes Pam feel like she's special and Jessica that she's special. And I know she feels like I'm special and that she can't do without me on my team. And that's just something that we can look up to and we can emulate as we build our teams. Of course, my team as of right now is just down to nothing. My points are down to nothing, um, but anyway, but you go ups and downs. I know I'm gonna shout out to Pam. She's done great this month. I know Jessica's done much, but just because maybe we're not uh, let's say we're not adding people to our team doesn't mean we don't need to still grow and still think about it and read books like this and get into a group that is encouraging. So see the big picture. That's what I'm talking about. Just got through talking about the big picture. Your place on a team makes sense only in the context of the big picture. If you're only motivated for finding your niche as personal gain, your poor motives may prevent you from discovering what you desire. And so we've had some training on this, and it's and even Darlene has said this to me. If we were just trying to um, add people to our team for the financial gain, and of course that is wonderful, but we have a heart for helping people. We want to see people's health get better because we know we've seen it in our own lives and testimony to people that we love that when they take the products, how their lives have improved and how they have a good quality of life. And after you get a little age on you, like I've got, things can happen pretty quick overnight. But anyway, so our motives are really very important here, and we need to be looking at the big picture. It says rely on your experiences. When it comes down to it, the only way to know that you've discovered your niche is to try what seems right and learn from your failures and your successes. When you discover what you are made for, your heart sings. It says, there's no place like this place anywhere near this place, so this place must be the place.
I love that, Mala. So good.
I do too.
So good. You can comment on that, Mala.
Okay. I just got through reading it. I just think, when you do find your place, you do have a feeling of contentment and also accomplishment and joy. And sometimes that is your passion and that is your joy when you can find that. And I think it's a work in progress. We can always improve on that. Anyway.
Great.
Okay.
So, have you done the turning point yet? Is that where you were?
What we're on page 37, a place for everyone and everyone in his place. That's where we
Okay.
are.
Okay. So, did you read the little square right here?
Let's see. Yes, that's what I just got through reading. There's no place like this place anywhere near this place, so this must be the place.
Yes, 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 yes. So, a place for everyone and everyone in his place. Did anyone underline some stuff in this section that you wanted to cover? I appreciate Mala helping hold up the reins today.
I,
Pam, did you have anything, or Jessica?
Well, I think it's all true. We definitely have to find our place, what works for us, follow our leader the best we can, but everybody's going to be different. And, we just need to encourage each other like we all do already. Um, so we can just get better at what we do.
Yes, that's right. And I think it is true that as our team keeps developing, we're all growing and developing as individually, and we're going to have different talents show up more apparently as we do that. And so there's going to be more that we offer, that we bring to our team. And so, jobs or, what we're doing within the team may shift some as we keep growing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
This next
you're going to keep growing as a team leader of your own team, and that is going to one of the things that's so important to me is that you have opportunity to shine, because as your team sees you leading, that gives you more credibility, more respect, more, it's just going to help you to grow. It's going to help your team to trust you more. They're going to bring on new people quicker, and it's just going to be a win-win. What were you going to say, Mala?
nothing. I was just going to talk on this next session
Yeah,
section,
yeah, please
and
do.
I was going to talk about it's such a this example right here was really moved me so much about Charles Plum, and he's a retired Navy captain, and he was a graduate of Annapolis, and he served in the Vietnam in the mid 1960s. And he flew 75 missions from an aircraft carrier, the USS Kitty Hawk. And I have heard about the Kitty Hawk, and in Vietnam, my husband was a little bit younger than a lot of the guys who served in Vietnam, because when he got drafted into the army, he went to basic training, and then he went into his IT program. And after that, he was stationed to he was scheduled to fly out to Vietnam. And 2 months before he was scheduled to leave for Vietnam, um, President Johnson was bringing all the troops out of Vietnam. So Gary spent his time in the military in Vietnam during that time stateside. And so he did not experience Vietnam, but he talked about it. And and he was very passionate about the men that died,
Mhm,
that went before him. And
mhm,
he just said, the Lord just protected my generation of the young men that was coming on, that we didn't have to go because so many lost their lives. But
mhm,
anyway, he got shot down and over in, on his 75th mission. He
mm,
got shot down over in Vietnam, and he was in prison. Plum was held prisoner for nearly 6 grueling years, part time, in the infamous Hanoi Hilton. And I've heard about that. And there's been movies that's been you know made about the guys that had to spend time in that deplorable place. But
mhm,
it goes on to say that after he got released and come home, and he and his wife was just out having coffee or having lunch one day, that a man come up and asked him if he said, uh, "You're Plum." And he said, aren't you Charles Plum?" And he said, "Yes." And the man went on and told him about his life, about what happened, how he had flew those missions, how he got shot down, how he spent the time. And he said, "I was just floored that this guy knew who I was." And he said, "Do I know you?" And he said, "No, you don't know me." And he said, "Well, how how are we connected? And he said, I'm the one who packed your parachute.
Wow.
And so, you know, there was a team there that saved his life, because, and that was, to me, that was just, when I read that, I thought, oh my, you don't even know who's on your team. You don't know who's helping you, who's encouraging you, who is packing your parachute. You know,
That packer's important.
Yes.
Got to
Yeah.
have a good parachute packer.
Yes, you do.
yes. And I just thought that was just so good and such a great analogy about teamwork.
Mm.
And anyway, I'll read right here. It says, what if the Navy had put the wrong person in the position of a parachute rigger? The anonymous and the rarely thankful job that man performed during the Vietnam War, Charles Plum wouldn't have known about it until it was too late. He wouldn't have even known where the breakdown had occurred because Plum wouldn't have lived to tell the tale.
Mm.
So now he's a motivational speaker for a Fortune 500 company. And down there it says, Pam, it says, we must empower the team. The packing others' parachutes can mean the difference in our survival, yours and your team's.
Mm.
That
Wow.
was so good.
That is
That's
such a great one.
mm-hmm.
And just another way of communicating the law of the niche. Are you packing parachutes for your teammates, or are you functioning at less than 100%? All players have a place where they add the most value. I want to encourage you to make sure you found yours. And so every single person on our team has a place. And it's like last night when I posted in the rally chat about, our team stats right now. And there's still, it's the 21st. So there's still lots of time for you to do your part as part of this team. And Mal is doing a part today, helping on this call. You're doing a part by being here. Again, we couldn't have a call if nobody was here. It just wouldn't be as good. I could record myself talking for, the call, but it's so much better because you read, you listened, you thought about what you read, and you let it impact your heart, and you came and shared. And so you can see, even from this call, the richness of teamwork and being in the right position and doing your part. Teamwork thought. You are most valuable where you add the most value. Becoming a better team member. Have you found your niche? As you fulfill your responsibilities, do you find yourself thinking something like, there's no place like this place anywhere near this place, so this must be the place? If so, then stay the course and keep growing and learning in your area of expertise. If not, you need to get on track. I think about Jessica too. She's been posting some in Living My Best Life with Plexus. She'll take her post she puts on her wall and then she'll put it in Living My Best Life. And if I correct me if I'm wrong, Jessica, but part of that thinking is she's adding people, her prospects, not just her team members, but prospects to that page as a way to help them decide to buy. I mean, that page is a way to serve our prospects through recipes, exercise, water, mindset, supplements, and sleep. And so, as we put posts in there related to those healthy habits, we are encouraging them. They're in a room of other people who care about healthy habits and succeeding. That's one of the reasons I love TOPS, is because every week I go and I meet with other women that care about eating well, moving, figuring out how to get an older body to lose weight and not gain weight and maintain weight, and how to move. One of them at lunch said, I'm not going to sit down. I refuse to sit down. Well, she sits down, but what she means is she's just not going to sit in
Low.
recliner 24/7, she's going to get up and do things. And that's one thing I talked to Mala about is what a blessing she is because she's still traveling, she's still doing things. I'm loving following Laura Ard right now because today is 4 weeks since Tim passed away. And she made a dance video. I'm not judging anyone who doesn't do that, but she's letting her joy show. And it's hard to you almost feel guilty for letting your joy show when you're grieving, really hard. And, um, and she's doing it anyway. She's figuring out a way to let her joy show in the midst of that grief. So, Jessica posting and living my best life with Plexus. Pam is really great at lives. She is never hesitated about going live on her wall. She does it with that beautiful Texas Southern accent she's got. People love that accent. That is a brand, really. Just on the hour. So, each one of you have a special place that you already have a niche, you have strengths. And as you notice other areas that you're comfortable in, you feel a calling on your spirit to do it, go for it, amplify it. Mal has been doing those cooking videos and other videos that serve her followers. As you do that and you're getting comments, those comments are affirmation. Your followers like what you're doing. Do more. So, becoming a better team member, finding your niche, and as you find it, continuing in that. If you know what your niche is but aren't working in it, start planning a transition. It could be as simple as a change in duties or as complex as a change of career. No matter whether it will require 6 weeks or 6 years, you need a transition plan and a timetable for completing it. Once you're certain of your course, have the courage to take the first step. As your team grows, I think this applies because when you're a silver, that's going to be different when you have 3 people that you're helping. Maybe they're all just customers. It's going to be different than when you're a senior gold and you have at least by then, usually one person who's building the business with you. So, as you have 1 or 2 people who are maybe willing to make a post and share and give you referrals, or maybe they actually want to grow a business and rank up themselves, then it's going to look different. And so, even just understanding that, you're already planning a transition just by understanding like, okay, that's going to be different. I'm going to be open that I'm going to be learning some different things and becoming comfortable with some different things. If you
I
have,
had something on that real quick.
yes.
I don't know. It says team building is not working on an assembly line.
Hmm.
I have the workbook and I'm listening to the Audible, so it's
Hmm.
like different for me, but I have that wrote down.
Did the workbook make you think about anything on that point or?
I think I was just listening to the audiobook and I wrote that down.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was cool because it's like, yeah, and what you said made me remember it because it's like everything's different. In an assembly line, you want it all to be the same and perfect and look exactly the same every single time, but that's not how it is with this. Even if you follow a system, it's not going to be the same every single time.
Yeah. I mean, even us doing the same system, let's say we are all committed to 5 Ask a Day. I'm writing mine down in this, and you're putting yours on a post-it note on the wall or a piece of paper and circling the ones you're going to do, or somebody else might be using Excel spreadsheet. We're committed to the same thing, but we're carrying it out in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as you become comfortable with 5, you may be like, well, I could do 10. 5 is not that much. As you grow, well, go for 10, you know. Um, and so I think you're right. And with people, because we're not in a product manufacturing business, we're in a people business. And that really makes it so it's not going to be 100% the same. I think about McDonald's being a worldwide, even though, let's not talk about the food, but they've been around forever and used to their food was cleaner from something I read this week. Um, but anyway, their systems are impeccable. And the fact that they have a book that says when you make the basic hamburger, this is what you do. You put the patty here, the little onions there, the ketchup, the mustard, the pickle. So that when you go to Illinois or Alabama or Kentucky, if you go to a McDonald's, the hamburger is going to be the same. And so, there is a standard that when somebody joins the Ignite team, if we commit to our Ignite notebook, if you get used to sending welcome letters, because they work, then, we have a system that sets a standard that when somebody joins our team with integrity, we can say, when you join our team, this is how you're going to be onboarded. This is how you're going to be serviced. This is how we're going to teach you to share, to duplicate. And of course, we're not going to say that to them, but as they grow, if they become a builder, we're all kind of doing the same thing. But just like with the example of the notebook or the wall or the Excel, how we carry it out may vary just a little bit. So, that's it for today. I'm so glad we got a chance to hop on, even with it being spring retreat tomorrow and my toilet needing to be serviced. Y'all did such a great job of helping out, and I so appreciate you. I am so excited for tomorrow for our spring retreat. And lots of fun stuff is planned for you. And show up at 9. We are going to use the same ID. I thought about making a special one, and I was like, no, everybody's used to that ID number and password. I'm going to leave that the same so it's easy for you to hop on virtually. And so tomorrow at 9, we'll be eating breakfast. So those of you that are joining virtual, if you want to save and bring a snack or save your breakfast for 9, that way we can all kind of feel like we're doing the same thing. I just want you to have awareness. If you don't want to eat, then that's fine too. But that's what we'll be doing. We'll be eating, and then I'll be doing our welcome as well during that time, our welcome message. And then we'll be hopping into our first speaker. So I will release the schedule, the agenda for you. Probably tomorrow. I'll just text it to each of you who are joining virtual in your messenger so you have it. But you know what time we start, and you know what time, kind of that, what we're doing first. Does anybody have any more comments about our book or any questions about tomorrow?
I wish I could be there in person,
I wish you could be here in person.
but I'll be there virtually.
Yes, I'm glad you'll be here virtually. And
Yeah.
that's one area, like as we keep growing, then there'll be more opportunities. So it's all good. All right, guys, y'all have a wonderful Friday, and I'll see you in the rally chat. Love you guys.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.